Hey guys, welcome to the RAMZPAUL show. We're doing it a little bit early tonight. We usually stream. I usually stream at 9 p.m. Central Time, but President Trump is going to be speaking soon here. He's going to be speaking at 8 p.m. Central. So I decided that we could just all watch it together. You guys can chat during the speech. And I don't plan to add a lot of commentary during the speech. I know when I watch something like this, I hate it when someone's talking over the person speaking. I might add a few comments, but in general, once President Trump starts to speak, I won't say anything so we can hear it. And then what I plan to do is actually take some notes. And then after the speech, we can talk about it. Let me just make sure everything is going well. It's a little bit different because I got to make sure that it's going to be streaming okay. And let me just see if there's a couple of places I might stream from USA Today. They already got the stream up and running. Although it's supposed to stream at the White House YouTube site, but I don't see it up yet. But I will check both places, so I think we're going to be covered. Now, let me just check to make sure Rumble's going good. Hello, Rumble. Hope you guys are doing well. Your mic sounds very off. Oh, really? Okay, let me adjust this here. I had my problems earlier, so let me just go ahead and try to fix this here. Audio is horrible. Okay, guys, let me just try to fix this here. Audio. All right, let's see here. USB advance. All right, how does this, is this good or is this still bad? I have a couple others. Is this still bad, the audio? Test, test, test. Now you're speaking like you're in a tin can. Let me just take a look. Is this better? I'll look at Scott. Does this look better? Sound better? Too bad because I thought I had that fixed. It's still bad. Okay, let me change it. Yeah, I got a couple options here. That's too bad because I thought I had this all fixed. Okay. Okay, we'll try this. All right, how does this sound? Okay, I just made a change here, so that's why I'm glad I got on early. Is this any better? Testing 1, 2, 3. Sounds normal. Does this sound better, Scott? Okay. Better. Sounds good. Okay. I don't know what happened. I'll have to. Great. Okay. Thanks, guys. And that's why I get on early. So, Brio. Okay. I got this. I don't know why sometimes it acts up, but I'm a little echoey. There you go. Better. Good enough. Okay. I will mess with that a little bit later then. So thanks for that. And all right. So that's going to be sort of the way we do it. And hopefully you'll be able to hear the speech okay. And then we can go perfect. Okay, good. No tin can. Sounds pretty good. Okay. Let me just let me just see if the White House has their link up yet. They don't, but that's okay. I have another link I can go to. All right, a couple of things. What's the speech going to be about? President Trump has been all over the map on what he's going to talk about. And Trump actually made let's just take a little quick thing of Trump here and what the speech is going to be about.
Tonight I'm making a little speech at 9 o'clock. And basically I'm going to tell everybody how great I am. Tonight I'm making...
Typical Trump. I think it's pretty much going to be about why he started this war
and how we're winning and how it's made America safer and how Iran was about to attack us, but he's totally wiped out their ballistic missiles, which is strange because Israel, Tel Aviv, just got pounded by the most amount of missiles ever tonight. But we got rid of their missiles. We sunk their navy, and everything's better now because of them. And we're going to leave within 2 weeks. I think that's his spin, but we will see. I was hoping yesterday that it would be, he'd be pulling out tonight. I don't know, and we'll talk a little bit more after the show. But I'm starting to doubt that. This could be a situation we keep getting sucked into this war. And the problem with Trump now is it's hard to take what he says seriously because he's always changing his mind. So it's hard to know just because he says something tonight, he could totally change it tomorrow. And so it gets really frustrating in there trying to keep his positions, whatever his positions are. And sometimes it's a goal of opening the Strait of Hormuz, and other times it's no, that's not really an important thing. We're here for other things. So it's just getting kind of crazy where it is right now, and we'll have to see where this is. Let me just see if I had some update on that. All right, so let me see if they have the speech should be coming in 8 minutes. Let me just review the White House YouTube site, see if they got the link up yet. And they don't. And again, if that doesn't work, though, we still got the USA Today site here. So we have a backup one way or the other. Let me just go over a couple other things before this, what he has said. Okay. Trump, the other day, he said he didn't really care about opening the Strait of Hormuz, but this morning he put out this Truth Social. Iran's new regime president, which it doesn't really make sense. They still have the same president they've had for 2 years, is much less radicalized and far more intelligent than his predecessors. I think Trump is just saying this to try to flatter them so they will negotiate. Has just asked the United States for a ceasefire. Again, Iran, they deny this. They said we haven't asked for a ceasefire, so who knows? We will consider when the Hormuz Strait is open, free, and clear. Until then, we are blasting Iran into oblivion, or as they say, back to the Stone Ages. I think that was the term they used in the Korean War, but it still didn't work. So now this morning, yesterday, he didn't care about the Strait of Hormuz. That wasn't our problem. But now again, this is on the table. So we'll have to see if he mentions that tonight and if he holds true with that here. Let's see here. I just want to make sure I got all the details here. Let me see. There was an interesting post on X I want to go get. I forgot to put it up though. Let me pin. I'm live on X too, so I'm going to pin this to X. And again, guys, once the speech starts in about 6 minutes, I will be quiet during the speech for the most part. I may add a comment or two, but then we'll discuss it afterwards. I'm actually going to be taking some notes, but we will see what happens there. And okay, so we talked about Trump, and I had a whole list of all his flip-flops. Yeah, here it is. This pretty much sums it up. Let me just show you guys this. This is how we've been through. Before the war started, they said Iran when it closed the strait, and then once they closed the strait, it was Iran better open it. And then Iran has 2 days to open the strait. Remember that? They either open the strait in 48 hours, or he's just going to blow them to smithereens, or electrical plants and their water treatment facilities. And then he said, oh, well, they're negotiating with us. And remember, right on Monday morning, and it helped the market. And so I delayed the deadline for a week. Oh, sorry about that, guys. I just heard a whistle. I think that it's about to start. Let me just bring this up here. And here we go. We'll go through that after this. I want to make sure I get the speed show as it comes through. All right, here we go. Yeah, this is going to, let me just share this here. All right, the White House speech. Here we go. We will begin shortly. I hope everything is good here. But anyway, Trump has been all over the map on the Strait of Hormuz. The goals of the entire war or excursion, or whatever we want to call it, have been moving. It started out as a regime change. He thought we'd execute or murder the Ayatollah, and the people would rise up, and they would have a government that would be friendly to the United States and Israel. That didn't happen. The people didn't take to the streets, and Iran fought back, and Trump admitted they fought back harder than we expected, or he expected, and they attacked our bases in the Gulf states, destroyed most of them, and they took the Strait of Hormuz. And it amazes me, but they didn't expect that either. And the Strait of Hormuz, that's where about 20 to 30% of the world's oil supply goes through. So that's causing increase now oil prices across the world. And some countries are very dependent upon oil coming out of the Persian Gulf, specifically places like India, China, Japan, Philippines, Korea. They've had a lot of oil shortages now. Now, China's okay, but they have a lot of oil reserves. But the other countries are hurting. Plus, Iran is allowing the Chinese boats to go through. So long term, Iran looks like they want to set up like a toll system, like Egypt has for the Suez Canal, where they will charge per how many barrels of oil you have, and then they'll let the tankers go through, as long as they're not Israeli tankers or I think American tankers. So this is a way to kind of split us from our allies. Trump has been all over the map saying he's going to totally destroy them unless they open up the Strait of Hormuz. We don't really give a shit about it. That's Europe's problem. So I don't know. He's been all over the map. We'll see what he says tonight. But again, what he says tonight may be totally different tomorrow. Some people think this is just a ruse and we're going to actually have a ground invasion. I'm skeptical of that. We don't have enough troops in the region really to make a difference, I don't believe. And based on all the military experts I've listened to, it's not enough. But we will see. And Trump is in a very difficult position at this point. He's one of the most unpopular presidents in history, based on polling, because the Democrats and the liberals still hate him. And a lot of people who voted for him, such as myself, feel really betrayed that he chose to get into this war for Israel. And it's not me saying it was Israel. Donald Trump admitted that early on. So did Rubio, and so did Mike Johnson. So this is where we are right now. And I think a lot of people are really disillusioned about that. All right. Yeah. And again, if you have any power chats or super chats, we will get to them after the show is, the speech is done. I'm not going to interrupt Trump's speech to read it, but I will get to it after it, and we'll discuss what he said. I think a lot of people are curious. He talks about the negotiations are going well, but where are we negotiating? Iran denies this. Pakistan, they're the go-betweens. They say there haven't been any negotiations. So we'll see what Trump has to say about these negotiations here. And okay, let me just close some sites here. And I hope we got everything up okay. Okay, it's 8 o'clock. It should start at any time. And we'll see if he's late or not. It's funny, he did this on April 1st, April Fool's Day. Maybe this is some kind of symbolic. I don't know who's a fool, Trump or us, but this is when it's going to happen. And again, we'll see what the message is. My prediction is we're winning the war. We've accomplished all the objectives. We'll be out in a couple of weeks. And we don't really need to make a deal with Iran, even though they're begging us to make a deal. And America's safer now because of this. And I think that's going to be his spin. But I could be wrong. We'll take a look. I was hoping he would announce we're getting out of the war immediately, but I don't think that is the case right now. So let's see here. Yeah, it'd be funny, his imaginary Iranian friends, talking to him. Yeah, right. Yeah, 2 weeks, 2 more weeks to flatten the curve. Yeah, Blazer 586. That was something. It does seem a little bit like that. All right. All right. We're still waiting. Come on, Trump. Who does Trump thinks he is? Like Nick Fuentes? Is it going to be hours late? Hopefully he shows up on time. But we will see. We will see here. Okay, I'm going to close some of my tabs I have open, just kind of organize this a little bit better. And this is okay. All right, we're up.
Thank you very much. My fellow Americans, good evening. Let me begin by congratulating the team at NASA and our brave astronauts on the successful launch of Artemis 2. It was quite something. It will be traveling further than any manned rocket has ever flown and will very substantially pass the moon, go around it, and come back home from a distance that has never been done before. It's amazing. They are on the way, and God bless them. These are brave people. We want to God bless those 4 unbelievable astronauts. As we speak this evening, it's been just 1 month since the United States military began Operation Epic Fury, targeting the world's #1 state sponsor of terror, Iran. In these past 4 weeks, our armed forces have delivered swift, decisive, overwhelming victories on the battlefield. Victories like few people have ever seen before. Tonight, Iran's Navy is gone. Their Air Force is in ruins. Their leaders, most of them terrorist regime they led, are now dead. Their command and control of the Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps is being decimated as we speak. Their ability to launch missiles and drones is dramatically curtailed, and their weapons, factories, and rocket launchers are being blown to pieces. Very few of them left. Never in the history of warfare has an enemy suffered such clear and devastating large-scale losses in a matter of weeks. Our enemies are losing, in America, as it has been for 5 years under my presidency, is winning, and now winning bigger than ever before. Before discussing this current situation, I also want to thank our troops for the masterful job they did in taking the country of Venezuela in a matter of minutes. That hit was quick, lethal, violent, and respected by everyone all over the world. After rebuilding our military during my first term, we have by far the strongest military anywhere in the world. And now we're working along with Venezuela and are, in a true sense, joint venture partners. We're getting along incredibly well in the production and sale of massive amounts of oil and gas, the second largest reserves on Earth after the United States of America. We're now totally independent of the Middle East, and yet we are there to help. We don't have to be there. We don't need their oil. We don't need anything they have, but we're there to help our allies. Tonight, I want to provide an update on the tremendous progress our warriors have made in Iran and discuss why Operation Epic Fury is necessary for the safety of America and the security of the free world. From the very first day I announced my campaign for president in 2015, I have vowed that I would never allow Iran to have a nuclear weapon. This fanatical regime has been chanting death to America, death to Israel for 47 years. Their proxies were behind the murder of 241 Americans in the Marine barracks bombing in Beirut, the slaughter of hundreds of our service members with roadside bombs. They were involved in the attack on the USS Cole, and they carried out the countless other heinous acts, including the just horrible, bloody atrocities of October 7th in Israel, something that most people have never seen anything like it. This murderous regime also recently killed 45,000 of their own people who were protesting in Iran. 45,000 dead. For these terrorists to have nuclear weapons would be an intolerable threat. The most violent and thuggish regime on earth would be free to carry out their campaigns of terror, coercion, conquest, and mass murder from behind a nuclear shield. I will never let that happen, and neither should any of our past presidents. This situation has been going on for 47 years and should have been handled long before I arrived in office. I did many things during my 2 terms in office to stop the quest for nuclear weapons by Iran first. And perhaps most importantly, I killed General Qasem Soleimani in my first term. He was an evil genius, brilliant person, a horrible human being, however, the father of the roadside bomb. And he lived just horrible what he did. Iran would have been perhaps in far better, stronger position. Had he lived, we would have had probably a different conversation tonight. But you know what? We'd still be winning and winning big. And then very importantly, I terminated Barack Hussein Obama's Iran nuclear deal, a disaster. Obama gave them $1.7 billion in cash, green cash, took it out of banks from Virginia, D.C., and Maryland, all the cash they had. Flew it by airplanes in an attempt to buy their respect and loyalty, but it didn't work. They laughed at our president and went on with their mission to have a nuclear bomb. His Iran deal would have led to a colossal arsenal of massive nuclear weapons for Iran. And they would have had them years ago, and they would have used them. It would have been a different world. There would have been no Middle East and no Israel right now, in my opinion, the opinion of a lot of great experts, had I not terminated that terrible deal. And I was so honored to do it. I was so proud to do it. It was so bad right from the beginning. Essentially, I did what no other president was willing to do. They made mistakes, and I am correcting them. My first preference was always the path of diplomacy, yet the regime continued their relentless quest for nuclear weapons and rejected every attempt at an agreement. For this reason, in June, I ordered a strike on Iran's key nuclear facilities, an Operation Midnight Hammer. Nobody's ever seen anything like it. Those beautiful B-2 bombers performed magnificently. We totally obliterated those nuclear sites. The regime then sought to rebuild their nuclear program at a totally different location, making clear they had no intention of abandoning their pursuit of nuclear weapons. They were also rapidly building a vast stockpile of conventional ballistic missiles and would soon have had missiles that could reach the American homeland, Europe, and virtually any other place on Earth. Iran's strategy was so obvious. They wanted to produce as many missiles as possible, and they did, with the longest range possible. And they had some weapons that nobody believed they had. We just learned that out. We took them out. We took them all out so that no one would really dare stop them. And their race for a nuclear bomb, a nuclear weapon like nobody's ever seen before. They were right at the doorstep. For years, everyone has said that Iran cannot have nuclear weapons, but in the end, those are just words if you're not willing to take action when the time comes. As I stated in my announcement of Operation Epic Fury, our objectives are very simple and clear. We are systematically dismantling the regime's ability to threaten America or project power outside of their borders. That means eliminating Iran's Navy, which is now absolutely destroyed, hurting their Air Force and their missile program at levels never seen before, and annihilating their defense industrial base. We've done all of it. Their Navy is gone, their Air Force is gone, their missiles are just about used up or beaten. Taken together, these actions will cripple Iran military, crush their ability to support terrorist proxies, and deny them the ability to build a nuclear bomb. Our armed forces have been extraordinary. There's never been anything like it militarily. Everyone is talking about it, and tonight I'm pleased to say that these core strategic objectives are nearing completion. As we celebrate this progress, we think especially of the 13 American warriors who have laid down their lives in this fight to prevent our children from ever having to face a nuclear Iran. Twice this past month, I've traveled to Dover Air Force Base, and it's been something. I wanted to be with those heroes as they return to American soil, and I was with them and their families, their parents, their wives, their husbands. We salute them, and now we must honor them by completing the mission for which they gave their lives. And every single one of the people, their loved ones said, "Please, sir, please finish the job." Every one of them. And we are going to finish the job, and we're going to finish it very fast. We're getting very close. I want to thank our allies in the Middle East, Israel, Saudi Arabia, Qatar, the UAE, Kuwait, and Bahrain. They've been great, and we will not let them get hurt or fail in any way, shape, or form. Many Americans have been concerned to see the recent rise in gasoline prices here at home. The short-term increase has been entirely the result of the Iranian regime launching deranged terror attacks against commercial oil tankers in neighboring countries that have nothing to do with the conflict. This is yet more proof that Iran can never be trusted with nuclear weapons. They will use them, and they will use them quickly. It would lead to decades of extortion, economic pain, and instability worse than we can ever imagine. The United States has never been better prepared economically to confront this threat. You all know that. We built the strongest economy in history. We're going through it right now, the strongest in history. In 1 year, we've taken a dead and crippled country. I hate to say that, but we were a dead and crippled country after the last administration and made it the hottest country anywhere in the world by far, with no inflation, record-setting investments coming into the United States, over $18 trillion, and the highest stock market ever, with 53 all-time record highs in just 1 year. It all positioned us to get rid of a cancer that has long simmered. It's known as the nuclear Iran, and they didn't know what was coming. They've never imagined it. Remember, because of our drill baby drill program, America has plenty of gas. We have so much gas. Under my leadership, we're #1 producer of oil and gas on the planet, without even discussing the millions of barrels that we're getting from Venezuela. Because of the Trump administration's policies, we produce more oil and gas than Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. Think of that, Saudi Arabia and Russia combined. And that number will soon be substantially higher than that. There's no country like us anywhere in the world, and We're in great shape for the future. The United States imports almost no oil through the Hormuz Strait and won't be taking any in the future. We don't need it. We haven't needed it, and we don't need it. We've beaten and completely decimated Iran. They are decimated, both militarily and economically and in every other way. And the countries of the world that do receive oil through the Hormuz Strait must take care of that passage. They must cherish it. They must grab it and cherish it. They can do it easily. We will be helpful, but they should take the lead in protecting the oil that they so desperately depend on. So to those countries that can't get fuel, many of which refuse to get involved in the decapitation of Iran, we had to do it ourselves. I have a suggestion. Number one, buy oil from the United States of America. We have plenty. We have so much. And number two, build up some delayed courage. Should have done it before. Should have done it with us, as we asked. Go to the strait and just take it, protect it, use it for yourselves. Iran has been essentially decimated. The hard part is done, so it should be easy. And in any event, when this conflict is over, the strait will open up naturally. It'll just open up naturally. They're going to want to be able to sell oil because that's all they have to try and rebuild. It will resume the flowing, and the gas prices will rapidly come back down. Stock prices will rapidly go back up. They haven't come down very much, frankly. They came down a little bit, but they've had some very good days over the last couple of days. We've done actually much better than I thought, but we had to take that little journey to Iran to get rid of this horrible threat. With our historic tax cuts, where people are just now talking about receiving larger refunds than they ever thought possible. They are getting so much more money than they thought. That's from the great big beautiful bill. Our economy is strong and improving by the day, and it will soon be roaring back like never before. It will top the levels that it was a month ago. I've made clear from the beginning of Operation Epic Fury that we will continue until our objectives are fully achieved. Thanks to the progress we've made, I can say tonight that we are on track to complete all of America's military objectives shortly, very shortly. We're going to hit them extremely hard over the next 2 to 3 weeks. We're going to bring them back to the Stone Ages where they belong. In the meantime, discussions are ongoing. Regime change was not our goal. We never said regime change, but regime change has occurred because of all of their original leaders' death. They're all dead. The new group is less radical and much more reasonable. Yet if during this period of time no deal is made, we have our eyes on key targets. If there is no deal, we are going to hit each and every one of their electric generating plants very hard and probably simultaneously. We have not hit their oil, even though that's the easiest target of all, because it would not give them even a small chance of survival or rebuilding. But we could hit it, and it would be gone, and there's not a thing they could do about it. They have no anti-aircraft equipment. Their radar is 100% annihilated. We are unstoppable as a military force. The nuclear sites that we obliterated with the B-2 bombers have been hit so hard that it would take months to get near the nuclear dust, and we have it under intense satellite surveillance and control. If we see them make a move, even a move for it, we'll hit them with missiles very hard again. We have all the cards, they have none. It's very important that we keep this conflict in perspective. American involvement in World War I lasted 1 year, 7 months, and 5 days. World War II lasted for 3 years, 8 months, and 25 days. The Korean War lasted for 3 years, 1 month, and 2 days. The Vietnam War lasted for 19 years, 5 months, and 29 days. Iraq went on for 8 years, 8 months, and 28 days. We are in this military operation, so powerful, so brilliant, against one of the most powerful countries for 32 days. And the country has been eviscerated and essentially is really no longer a threat. They were the bully of the Middle East, but they're the bully no longer. This is a true investment in your children and your grandchildren's future. The whole world is watching, and they can't leave the power, strength, and brilliance. They just can't believe what they're seeing. They leave it to your imagination, but they can't believe what they're seeing, the brilliance of the United States military. Tonight, every American can look forward to a day when we are finally free from the wickedness of Iranian aggression and the specter of nuclear blackmail. Because of the actions we have taken, we are on the cusp of ending Iran's sinister threat to America and the world. And I'll tell you, the world is watching. And when we do, when it's all over, the United States will be safer, stronger, more prosperous, and greater than it has ever been before. May God bless the men and women of the United States Armed Forces, and may God bless the United States of America. Thank you very much, and good night.
All right. Well, that ended quicker than I thought it would. We'll kind of go over this. And first of all, I want to, I had some audio problems earlier. I'm just going to buy a new microphone. I thought I fixed the issue. So I'm going to ask you guys now, Scott and everyone, is my mic working okay now, or do I need to make another change? Can you guys hear me okay? Let me just take a look. Oh, let me turn that off. Let's see here. Good. Okay. Kind of echoed. Let me just see. All right. I might do just one more change with the mic. I can always go back. So this is what I had it on originally,
and it was supposed to be really bad. Is this really bad now? How about right now, guys? Is this really bad? I'll go back. You are using your laptop mic. I shouldn't be. All right, does it sound right? Let me go back to, holy shit, I'll go back to the way it was, so.
All right. Terrible. Okay, how about this? I'll take it back this way. Is this better? All right, that's really bad. Let me go back to this way. Better before. All right, so I should be better. This should be better. Is this good now? I made a change. Okay, better now. All right, we're going to go with this one. Again, I will probably, this week, I will go to the store and get a better mic. I'm not sure what's happened. I've had this for a while, but whatever. This one's, I guess you guys can hear me okay in this one, so we will do this. I took a couple of notes. This was basically a nothing burger speech. It was a rah, everything is going wonderful speech. And I'll just go through the notes I had and make comments of it. He tried to establish the objective for this war. And again, he handled this poorly. What should have happened is before a war, I didn't agree with what George Bush did when it came to the Iraq war, but at least he took it to the American people. He took it to Congress. He took it to the UN. There was a lot of debate about it. This war, I guess because it was a surprise attack, because we were in the middle of negotiations with Iran, there was no address to the American people. And part of the issue, because you notice he mentioned Venezuela, I think he thought it'd be like Venezuela, a real quick hit, and then we'd be out of it. But that didn't happen. And so it just kind of blew up. So this is the first time I think he's really addressed the American people about this. I guess they can't call it a war because you have to go to Congress excursion, he calls it. And he said Iran was the great state sponsor of terror. I push back on that. I don't think Iranians have engaged in much terrorism. It just going through his examples, he goes back all the way to 1983 when Ronald Reagan was president. I was in college. That's how long ago it was, right? And our Marines were killed in their barracks by Hezbollah, who they said is a proxy of Iran. And a proxy, that's kind of a derogatory term. It implies they're just puppets. Hezbollah is their own independent group. They're in Lebanon. They fight for Lebanon independence, especially against Israel. Iran does fund them, but they are independent. I guess that'd be like saying Ukraine is our proxy because we give them money. I don't know if that'd be the right term. You could say that. But whatever, there was a war, and before the Marine barracks were blown up, we had an old battleship. We still had an old battleship at that time. I remember that. Those battleships are pretty much useless now. Even back then, they were in the 80s. But they had their big guns, and they shelled Lebanon, and they were killing a lot of the Shia Muslims. And so this was an attack in retaliation. And it wasn't attacking civilians, it was attacking a military target. And I hate how we conflate things. And again, you can say the guys are bad, they're evil, they're attacking American soldiers. But if you're in a war and the enemy's attacking soldiers, that's not terrorism. By definition, if you're in a battlefield and you're attacking the enemy, you can say, it's horrible or whatever, but it's not terrorism. Terrorism is when you're attacking civilians trying to do a political cause. So that was as part of a battle. And Reagan, which all these people love, he didn't decide to attack Iran then. He pulled the troops out of Lebanon because even back then, Israel was trying to take Lebanon. So that was one. And then the other part they're talking about in Iraq, there's militias. He calls them proxies, but again, they're pretty independent. They're Shia groups, and they were fighting U.S. troops with roadside bombs. Again, that was a military conflict. But I don't know of any incident where Iran has attacked the United States, Iran proper, or any of their proxies, or they've done terrorist attacks in Europe. That's always been the Sunnis. For example, 9/11. That was Saudis that did that. And most of those terrorist attacks in Europe, even we had in America, again, ISIS, those were Sunnis. They weren't Iranians. And I'm not trying to simp for Iran, but you got to keep that different. Iran wasn't involved with all these terrorist incidents. And this whole thing about death to America, they're chanting. Well, number one, even if they should chant, who cares? That's not a reason to attack them. But they explained it. They said death to America doesn't mean killing American people. It means death to the American system that funds Israel, which is a threat to the United States. So they explained what that meant. And so then he claims they killed 45,000 of their own people this year. Again, I call bullshit on that. But even if they did, it's none of our business. We're not the morality police of the world. And for 47 years, they keep bringing that up. Well, wouldn't you think some president would have considered this a huge issue? Donald Trump was the first president stupid enough to be tricked by Israel to go into this dumb war. So we didn't need to be there in the first place. But that was, he tried to make the justification now after the fact why we were in the war. And then he said, we had all these glorious victories. Their Navy's gone, which really isn't true because Iranian Navy is mostly their speedboats and underwater drones, that type of thing. They never had a blue water Navy. They had a couple of old frigates from the Shah of Iran that came from Britain, and we sunk one of those and bombed them. But those were irrelevant. The Air Force is mostly gone. Again, Iran, they chose a different direction. They don't have much of an Air Force. They have a little Air Force, but airplanes are pretty much obsolete now. Everything is now drones and missiles. And he said their leaders are dead. Well, they have new leaders and they're continuing the fight. And then he said their missile ability is pretty much done. But just tonight, Israel experienced probably the largest missile attack in the entire war. And our air defense can't protect it. So it's not adding up when Iran has consistently continued to fire missiles at the Gulf states and at Israel every night, wave after wave after wave, and they're increasing the numbers all the time now. So that's not really adding up what the president's saying. And then what else? Then he blamed Obama for that nuclear deal. And he said Obama gave them all that money. Again, that was sort of deceptive. What happened is we froze Iranian bank accounts. That was their money that we froze. And because of this deal, and the deal was a nuclear deal that Iran would agree that we could have nuclear inspectors to make sure they don't make nuclear weapons because Iran has always said they don't want to make nuclear weapons. In fact, the supreme leader who we killed, he issued a fatwa, I think they call that. That's an Islamic, like as a papal bull or something equivalent, where he said it's not right for Islamic countries to have nuclear weapons, or at least their country. So they said, hey, we're not trying to build nuclear weapons. We want nuclear power, though, for peaceful purposes, civilian electricity. And they agreed to have nuclear inspectors. And then we said, okay, thank you for signing up on that. And Obama said, as part of that, you can have your money back. So it wasn't like US money we gave them. That was their money we gave them back. And so he said the objectives are nearly completed, but we must finish the job. That's a phrase I've seen the neocons use a lot, but it doesn't really, I don't know what they mean by, quote, finish the job. And that was not really clear. And then he said that Iran, they did things that no one expected, like attacking all these innocent countries like Kuwait, Bahrain, Qatar, Saudi Arabia. And I'm like, well, they host U.S. bases. So I don't know how stupid Trump is. Of course they're going to attack those countries. They're involved with it. But he didn't expect that. And then he started to brag about how we have the strongest economy in history, no inflation. And again, inflation numbers are up. I don't know what Trump's talking about. Most people think the economy is in a really bad situation right now. I don't know if Trump's in a bubble or what. Then he got fixated on the stock market. Remember, oh, well, Pam Bondi said, oh, we can't investigate these billionaires molesting children because the stock market is 50,000. So I don't think people care about that as much, but whatever. Then he went over the Hormuz Strait, and he said that, well, we don't need the Strait open. Other countries need to deal with that, which, based on his own speech, this is inherently or internally inconsistent, because he said we totally defeated Iran. And they don't have any command and control. They don't have nothing left. Then how in the hell can they shut down the Strait of Hormuz if they don't have any military left? How are they doing that? He didn't explain that, but that's not our problem somehow, even though before this engagement, it was free and open. And now he's saying, well, that's not our problem. Other countries have to fix that, like Britain, I guess. And he referred to the war as a little journey. And then I guess the next future plans, I was hoping he would talk about pulling out of the war, but he didn't really say that. He said it's going to be soon, whatever that means, but in the next couple of weeks. So I guess he means in a couple of weeks we'll be out of this, supposedly. We're going to hit them hard, back to the Stone Ages. I think that was an expression used in Korea or Vietnam, bomb them to the Stone Ages. It didn't really work. And why are we hitting them hard again if they don't have any military left, according to Trump? So again, his own rhetoric doesn't it's not internally, there's no internal logic to it. And then he said, regime change was never our goal. Bullshit. Beforehand, they were talking about the protesters rising up, and that was always the goal, no doubt about it, especially for Israel. But now he said that wasn't the goal. But hey, guess what? It occurred. Well, yeah, we killed the old 86-year-old man that was more of a moderate, and now his son, who's more of a hardliner, is in charge. I guess if you call that a regime change. Most people thought regime change meaning we'd have some gay democratic government that loves Israel, not a harder Islamic state as a regime change, but whatever. And again, he's saying if there's no deal, we'll hit their electric plants and power plants. And again, if they don't have a military anymore, this could only mean as a way to make the civilians suffer. So again, Trump is really claiming that he's engaging in a potential war crime here, because that's the definition, and that maybe we'll hit their oil, and we haven't done so yet. So I think that was basically, I didn't hear anything about and maybe I missed it. I was checking with my sound. I didn't hear anything about a ground war. Supposedly there was talk about he would announce that, but I didn't hear that. And if you guys heard the ground war, did you guys hear the ground war? I didn't hear about that. And he didn't really give a timeline of us getting out of here. Everything's just going really well, and we should be happy. Yeah, no ground war talk. I think the speech was a nothing burger. It was more a rah rah, we're doing well. Yeah, this was basically his mission accomplished speech. You remember George Bush had that on the aircraft carrier. The war continued on. I think this is a way to emphasize that. And again, his speech, even if you're neutral, don't care one way or the other, it didn't have any internal logic or consistency at all. Because he started the speech saying, we've totally wiped out the enemy. They don't have an Air Force. They don't have a Navy. They don't have command and control. All their leaders are killed. They're totally useless, right? And we bombed all their nuclear power. Their uranium, and there's no way they can get to it. So, okay, then I guess the war's over. They're totally defeated, and the Strait of Hormuz is open. What's the deal then? Why are we still there? Why are they still bombing? Why is he saying we still need to bomb Iran for 2 weeks and send them back to the Stone Ages when, according to Trump, he's saying they've totally been defeated? All their missiles are gone, or almost all gone, totally defeated. But then you look at reality, the Strait of Hormuz stays closed. You look at reality, more missiles than ever are hitting Israel. In fact, Israel's admitting 80% get through. Their air defense is broken. It's not making a lot of sense at all. And so even in this speech, it's internally inconsistent. It's not logical. And not that people care about them. So we totally won the war, but we got to keep fighting for some reason, because I don't know why if we totally won. But that is the reason. And we got to finish the job. But what is finish the job? I don't even know what that means anymore. What's the objective? And if we go back to Trump, it's perfectly clear. It was never regime change. Okay, then what is it? Well, it's to stop them from getting a nuclear bomb. Well, okay, they said they never wanted one. You said last year in June, when you did the midnight hammer or whatever that stupid thing was, that you totally destroyed their nuclear capability for decades. And if you said otherwise, that's fake news, right? So, and now you're saying that you have all this on satellite, and if they dare go near that facility, we're just going to kill them right away. All this bullshit. So, what is it? How do they have a nuclear threat? So, and you said you won. So, what's finish the job? I don't understand this. They don't have, according to him, Iran doesn't have a Navy, Air Force, missiles, or anything, command and control. So what does it mean to finish the job? It doesn't make any sense to me. Obviously, even if you just look at this logically, the speech made zero sense. And then he just decided to brag about how great the economy is. It's on fire, maybe on fire, but not the way he thinks. And hottest economy, it's not. It's most people think the economy is doing really poor. And he's getting bad economic numbers on this. And so that was it. And then when it came to the Strait of Hormuz, even though they've been totally defeated, for some reason, a totally defeated country still somehow can control the Strait of Hormuz. How did they do that if they don't have any weapons? They're all been killed. I don't know how they do it, but somehow they still have it closed. And other countries need to deal with the matter. And then he had this phrase, it will just eventually open up naturally, like it's a natural formation, just naturally open. It doesn't make any sense whatsoever. And then he talked about he wants to deal with Iran. Iran said they're not negotiating with him, but Trump every morning is saying we're real close to a deal, and they're begging him for a deal. And Iran keeps saying, fuck off, we're not talking to you. And then he says, unless they agree to a deal, we're going to attack their power plants, which again is a war crime because there's no military value to it, because we've already wiped out their military. So what are they doing there? What are we doing here? It doesn't make a lot of sense. And it is really frustrating at this point where we are right now. So here, and again, Iran, let me just show you this. After Trump said today that Iran was begging for a deal, the Iranian foreign minister said Trump's claims about Iran requesting a ceasefire are false. So Iran is, and I believe Iran at this point, because if there are real negotiations on, okay, who are the negotiators? Where are they meeting? What's the agenda? For example, in the Vietnam War, we did meet with the North Vietnamese. We went through the Chinese to get that set up because they had leverage. Our negotiators were like Henry Kissinger, and I think I was an evil bastard, but he was smart actually. And they met in Paris, and they all took photographs and they negotiated. And these negotiations, what are you talking about? No one knows about it. And here's the situation today, right before Trump's speech, right, saying that Iran has totally been eliminated, totally destroyed, the greatest military victory in history. I think he says something like that. Ridiculous.
Well, we've been watching the Supreme Court. Israel is being pounded by Iran, sirens sounding over Tel Aviv as a barrage of missiles hit the nation. Let's bring in Jonathan Hunt with more. Jonathan.
All right. So at some point, you got to say, are you going to believe reality or the president of the United States? Because according to the president of the United States, we've obliterated pretty much their entire military capability, their command and control, their defense, almost all their missiles. So how is Iran able to do this every night? Multiple waves. In fact, they're increasing the number. How are they able to do that? Someone's lying, right? And it doesn't look good for the president.
Kaylee, Israel in general and Tel Aviv in particular have been under almost constant bombardment throughout the day today. One of the most intense bombardments, in fact, since the very early days of this war.
So how did that happen? So how it started, Iran, when we murdered their Ayatollah on the sneak attack, they responded huge with a lot of missiles. I think a lot of their own missiles to try to drain the Patriot interceptors. Then they tapered down a little bit, but they didn't stop. They continued at a regular pace, which makes sense. You need to husband your inventory, right? You don't want to shoot them all off in one big wad. And they kept every day, every night, attacking Israel. And now recently they've been increasing the numbers, and the missiles they're firing are a lot more sophisticated. They're firing their hypersonic missiles and more powerful missiles, and they're almost all landing. But this is contradicting just what Trump told us. So this is where you have a credibility gap. So Trump is telling us one thing, but how we're supposed to believe the president when this is happening? It's just not adding up. And again, I hate to keep bringing back Vietnam, but this is what happened in Vietnam. I think it was at the end of 1967 and going into 1968. Johnson, LBJ, was saying, we're the lights at the end of the tunnel. We've killed all these North Vietnamese. We've kicked their ass, bombed them back to the Stone Age, all that bullshit. They're defeated, basically. We got victory at hand. And then the Viet Cong, they kicked off the Tet Offensive, attacking multiple targets, including in Saigon, which wasn't supposed to be possible. And so it was like a real credibility gap. And we got a credibility gap right now.
Just about an hour ago, we had an hour-long series of sirens. We watched as the interceptors were launched from this area at those missiles, which came in one after another from Iran. And this, remember.
So, I mean, that's just a reality. And that's Fox News. They're not, they're all for this war. And so it's just what's happening there. So it doesn't even make a lot of sense here. Trump's been all over the map. He's a kind of a desperate man. On one hand, Remember, he gave Iran 48 hours to open the Strait of Hormuz. Otherwise, he's going to bomb the shit out of their power plants and their water desalinization plants, which is a war crime again. And then he extended that because he said we had good negotiations with them. And Iran said, we don't know what the fuck you're talking about. We're not negotiating with you. And then Trump said, well, we don't even care about the Strait of Hormuz, right? So it's gone back and forth. But now he's saying that he's threatened to stop supplying weapons to Ukraine unless Europe joins in reopening the Strait of Hormuz. Well, why should Trump care about it if we don't care about the Strait of Hormuz? So the whole thing, it just doesn't make any sense whatever. And then let's take a look at the numbers, because Trump in his speech part of his speech, like Trump, was bragging about how wonderful he is. So let's take a look at some of how the American people are doing, because we got the best economy ever and military victories that humankind has never seen since like Alexander the Great or something.
Look, now the economy is the biggest concern of Americans. And when he was elected, it was the biggest concern of Americans. It is the reason in major part why he got elected, because he said he could fix it fast. Can you give us some sense, delve into some of the numbers that you're seeing on the economy here in this poll?
Yeah, take a look here about his overall handling of the economy. As you noted, 31% approval. That is a record low for Donald Trump. You can see here over time his handling of the economy. And that, by the way, among Republicans is at 71%. Just in January, he had 85% approval on the economy with Republicans. So we're seeing slippage there as well on the economy factor, and largely driven by really pessimistic assessment from the American people. 77% say economic conditions in the country are poor. Only 23% say they're good. And a lot of that right now, we know $4 a gas. This is not going to help his political predicament. Only 24% of Americans approve how Donald Trump is handling gas prices. 3/4 of Americans disapprove how he's doing that. If you look by party, again, among his own Republicans, it's just a bare majority. 56% only approve how the president's handling gas prices.
Yeah, this is Trump's strategy, and I don't really agree with this. I think it's better just to be honest with people, even if they may not like to hear the message. But Trump always likes to bullshit. That's his nature. That works so far, but eventually you have a credibility gap and people just tune you out and they see you as a liar or as a con man. And I think it's better to just give the honest news. I found that in business, instead of bullshitting if a project was in trouble. Instead of bullshitting to the customer or the client, just be honest and say, we're having these problems and may be delayed, but this is what we're doing to fix it. And if you own up to it, ironically, people tend to be more supportive. So if Trump came out tonight and said, for example, with this war, guys, I really thought this war was important. We are, obviously, it's not over. As you can see, the missiles are still flying. We are making progress, but it's going to be tough. I'm not going to lie to you about that. We might have to make sacrifices, but here's why these sacrifices are necessary. I would still not agree with the war, but at least you're being honest with the American people. People can detect that. And the same with the economy. Trump can say, hey, I know a lot of you are unhappy with the state of the economy right now, and I agree with you. It's not where we want it to be, but we're going to take certain steps to improve it. And believe me, I haven't forgot about you guys, the Americans. I want to focus on domestic issues, and I understand that. People will relate to that, but don't gaslight people and say this is the best economy ever with no inflation, when 77% of Americans polled disagree with that, because then you lose all credibility. People just say, well, you're just full of shit. Why should we trust you on anything? So I don't understand this messaging, what Trump's doing. I understand it. He's a bullshitter. But again, if you're a carny or something, using Z-Man's terms, I guess you can do that. But if you're an actual president and you're trying to deal with serious matters, you got to deal with these issues and be honest with the American people. And I don't think we're getting a lot of honesty from the American people at all. And so this is a bad situation we're in right now. And let me see here if I have this. Yeah, this is before the speech started. I was just going over this briefly. This is, for example, the whole credibility with Trump. Remember, he started that Iran won't close the strait if we start a war. Then Iran better open the strait. Then he gave a 48-hour deadline. Then after 48 hours, he pushed it back for 5 days because of these imaginary negotiations that no one knew about. And then he said, NATO, you need to open the strait. And then he threatened Iran, I'll bomb your critical infrastructure if the strait isn't open. Again, a war crime, but he's threatening that. And then the other day, yesterday, hey, I don't give a fuck about the strait. That's up to Britain, not me. And today he said, no ceasefire till the strait is open. So who knows? I mean, again, there's no credibility there. It's just a mess. And it's just really, really bad. It's just a horrible message that he has right now. And the polling numbers are horrific for Trump. And the message, the way he's doing it, is not resonating with people. So people from the age of 18 to 34, only 20% approve of Trump, 80% disapprove, and it's crashing. Every month it's crashing. Young people, they don't see a good economy. They don't understand why we should get into war for Israel. All the stuff that Trump promised, he's backed off on. So it's just become a disaster where we are. And it doesn't seem to be getting better at all. And it's really sad, this situation right now. All right, let's see here. A couple of other things from Trump. Let's take a look here.
Because the United States can't take care of daycare. That has to be up to a state. We can't take care of daycare. We're a big country. We have 50 states. We have all these other people. We're fighting wars. We can't take care of daycare. You got to let a state take care of daycare, and they should pay for it too. They should pay. They have to raise their taxes, but they should pay for it. And we could lower our taxes a little bit to them to make up. But it's not possible for us to take care of daycare, Medicaid, Medicare, all these individual things. They can do it on a state basis. You can't do it on a federal. We have to take care of one thing: military protection.
All right. Now so Trump is saying we have an open checkbook for Israel to fight wars for Israel, but we don't have money for the citizens of the United States. I mean, fuck you. That's not what we're about. We're about spending money on Israel. It's a horrible message. It's just crazy what he said. We're a big country. We're fighting wars. It's not possible for us to take care of daycare, Medicaid, Medicare, all these things. What? Yeah, that's the winning message. And ironically, remember Rubio yesterday said, oh, we don't understand why Iran has spent so much money on their military when they could have spent it on helping their people. Yeah, we can't really point a lot of fingers there. But this is where we are right now, and it is really crazy here. Let's see here. We had a couple other late breaking items. Let's just cover that real quick and see where we are about Trump. Part of the problem with Trump is he surrounded himself with charlatans. And let's take a look at this. Here we go. This is Paula White. She's like a tele-evangelist type. She runs a grift. If you give her money, an angel will protect you. Paula White compares Trump to Jesus during an event with faith leaders. You were betrayed and arrested and falsely accused. It's a familiar pattern that our Lord and Savior has showed us. Because of his resurrection, you rose up. So I'm convinced what has happened with Trump is after his almost assassination, it really shook him. and he got people around him that convinced him that he is really special. Like God has really picked him out above everyone else to implement his plan of righteousness across the world. And Trump's always been, a narcissist, basically. And this appealed to him. But then you add in his mental state. I think he's starting to get a little bit dementia. He's getting old. And it's just added to Trump's situation here, where he thinks he's divinely inspired to protect Israel, the God's chosen people, and defeat Israel's enemies and all that nonsense. So I think that's the situation we're in there right now. All right, let's see here. See if I got any super chats or power chats. Okay, go through. And so I'll just wrap up. I do have a super chat. Thank you very much, Tim. Thank you so much. Good to see Trump has declared victory once again. Just 2 more weeks to slow the spread. Yeah, does sound like COVID. Just 2 more weeks. We're going through COVID again. That's a great point. Hey, as I joked on X, we defeated Germany last century twice, and in 1918 and 1945. Others helped, but okay. And we defeated Japan once. But we've defeated Iran like 11 times so far. Donald Trump every day gets up and says how we've totally defeated Iran. We've had more victories than ever, but this war keeps going on. And again, that's part of Trump's problem. He oversells things, and you start to have the credibility gap. I just wish he was more honest. Free Palestine, free America. Yeah, I wish we were a free country. We're definitely controlled by Israel, and AIPAC is pretty disgusting. And it's both the Republicans and the Democrats, so it's not like the Democrats are better. It's a sad situation, but that's where we are right now. Did this speech make it sound like wrapping up or boots on the ground, Iraq all over again? Thank you, KMX, on that. Yesterday, based on Trump saying that we don't need a peace deal with Iran, and we've concluded all our objectives, and the Strait of Hormuz, that's not our problem. Britain, those pussies, they need to deal with it. I really thought, and then he announced he was going to give a major speech tonight. I thought it was going to be that was announced that we won the war, we did all our objectives, and we're pulling out. And, Britain can deal with the Strait of Hormuz. Fuck them. I thought that'd be the message, but that wasn't the message. And again, Trump changes by the day. There were rumors before the speech, the initial draft, that he was calling for ground troops, but I didn't hear that. I don't think he has the plan. I don't think there is a plan. They're just making it up every day as they go along because they don't know what to do. Because to actually have a number of troops to open the Strait of Hormuz or defeat Iran, you need like 500,000. I've talked about this. It's just not feasible. Congress wouldn't approve it. Trump's the most unpopular president in history. There's just no way we're going to do that. You're not going to draft people. So Trump wants a quick and easy, fast solution, but there isn't any. And he's talking about bombing them back to the Stone Age, which in history has never worked. It's just ridiculous. Iran, they look better than ever in their attacks, or look stronger than ever. They're being supposedly, and I believe they're getting supplies from Russia and potentially China. And the longer they hold on, the more they'll get probably allies that side with them. So, yeah, this speech I thought was a very disappointing speech by Trump. It was more of a rah-rah, look how great everything's going. And it's horrible. Someone needs to red pill Trump on the JQ ASAP. I don't think that's happening. He surrounded himself with people like Mark Levin, Laura Loomer, and these Christian Zionist weirdos. And they're telling him he's been chosen by God to defend God's all-stars. and that's going to be his legacy. And Trump has an ego. I think he really believes that. And I don't think Trump is dealing with reality much anymore. He's kind of in a bubble. Supposedly Susie Wiles, she keeps people away. She tells people Trump doesn't like to hear negative news, so just tell him what he wants to hear. That's not good. But I think that is the situation there. So yeah, that is definitely not a good situation here. And let me see here. I'm scrolling down here. Okay. Okay, I'm just going through all the comments. I don't want to miss any super chats. I appreciate all you guys being here, though. It's always good to watch it. I apologize for my mic. I thought I had fixed my mic problem, but I had it again. So I may just go out this week and buy a new mic. So a good mic is important, and hopefully I can get this fixed or get a new mic. So apologize for that. But guys, it's been wonderful to have you here going through the speech. Again, we'll talk again tomorrow at 9 p.m. We'll go back to our regular time. But thank you guys for being here, and I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.